Hi, this is Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart, and today is Thursday, September 23rd, 2021. It is 2:32 p.m. Eastern Time as I'm starting the video, so about an hour and a half left to go in trading today. In this video, I'm going to cover the cannabis stocks, and so some of these will either be direct plays, pure play cannabis stocks, or sometimes you have related, such as this one, Zine. We're going to start out here. I have a lot of several watch lists for cannabis stocks, and I'm just rifling down through the names. And one of those watch lists, it's a little more all-inclusive. And again, I'll let you know my thoughts on which ones are setups, which ones are actionable, and any other tidbits on those that I can think of, fundamentals, things like that. All right, Zine, I'm going to put a level right here. You had a major reaction high. Again, this is not a direct play, rather a pharmaceutical that has some hand in one of the drugs that they have. Has some cannabis derivative or something like that, if I recall. It's been a while since I really was deep into these. We had a little divergent high right there, and I should mark that up. But either way, here's the most important point on this chart, or salient feature to look at, is this uptrend line in this stock has been pretty much a buy on pullbacks to that trend line, and then you have that 472 resistance, a pretty good resistance level. So I think if that can pop, the stock can run. I'd have to update it a little. Let me put on that divergence back on there. Sometimes these charts, these divergences go away. Sometimes I have different boards, but I'm going to mark this right about, yeah, I'd say somewhere in there, near that previous reaction high. Like, we'll call it $6. Let's round it up, make it an even 6 if I can do that there. I'll have to just manually do it. 598, $6. Okay, so roughly, you can take profits a little bit below that if it pops. And again, so your objective long entries are the trend line. If you can get a pullback there and or break above 472, stops would all be dependent on where your average cost is, your average entry price if you take it. Some of these have gone to the wayside. They either went away completely or they were acquired by another larger company. There's been a lot of consolidation in the industry in the last couple of years. So when you see this flat line, I'm just going to move on. XXII, another one. This is a drug manufacturer, specialty and generic, 22nd century group. Again, XXII is a symbol, and pretty nice support here right around 290. You can see that it was resistance right here, major reaction high, had resistance again there, broke it. It's been choppy. A lot of these stocks are, but lately it's been holding that level. So the case can be made. Plus, not just that it's pulled back to support and we're close enough to it, but the fact that we did so with positive divergence for the first time in a while. So in other words, you have from this previous low to this recent equal low. Positive divergence can be when prices are making lower lows or equal lows and the indicators are making higher lows, and that's what you have there. So that is XXII. I'm going to look to see if we can get a trend line here. Possible target there, that trend line. Otherwise, at this point in time, you probably want to target these two previous reaction highs right here, around $4. So we're at $3 now, so that'd be a nice return from 3 to 4, take you up there, about 33% or so return. OGTO. Okay, I have a lot of the Canadian shares in my watch list. Remember, if you see a .to, that means it trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and as it should, a good percentage of these companies are Canadian companies. Now I'll go over the US shares as well, but I'm doing this because I know there's some Canadians on the site, so you'd obviously want to buy this one here in these price levels. So there it is. This is a nice clean looking downtrend line. It was a little overshoot there, but it really comes in at this point. Gives you this triangle pattern right there, and if you can pop above it, a lot of these levels I haven't touched in a while. I'm going to leave that there at 353. Let's say that's minimum target, but up to about right here, 350 to 360. You might just, if you start to see some momentum in the sector, and that's one reason I cover all these stocks. I cover a lot of them because birds of a feather flock together. You want to see not just one or two, but the vast majority of these break out. And again, I'm going roughly in order of market cap. So these are your larger ones. When I get down to the end of this list, they're going to be penny stocks, higher risk, but also higher reward potential as well. So there it is, pop above that. And especially if you can take out 362, could get this one going. Positive divergence as well on that one. one, OGI.to. We'll get to OGI in a second, the U.S. shares. MJ, this is ETF. If you like what you see in this video, but you don't know which ones to buy, MJ was the first to market cannabis ETF. You could always go with that. There's a downtrend line, pretty well-defined downtrend line as well. Might have to move this line up a little. Resistance about 1540 roughly comes in with the trend line up to about, you have a previous reaction low just above that, about 1574. So that's it. If this is what the sector really needs to do, is a little bit more work, punch up through there. That's a confluence of resistance, both price resistance zone and the downtrend line, and then that one should run. You're going to have a little bit of resistance here around those reaction highs, 1695 and then 1750. And then 1878 or so. Those are your near-term targets on MJ if we get a breakout anytime soon, and that's potentially about a 25% rally if it got up to that 1878 target. I'll follow up on this sector if we get some bullish activity, some breakouts soon. Cara, this is another biotech company. This is one we've traded mostly long over the years, had quite a few trade ideas. I was quite bullish on this one a couple years back when I was actively trading the cannabis stocks and highlighting those as trade ideas. But what I wanted to show you here is this level right here. I haven't touched this line. Goodness, this is created this line back in March of 2018 right there, 1176. See, it was nice support back here in the stock. Lots of reactions on that level. Also a breakout when it ripped once it took it out. It was a level before, pulled back there. Everything, remember, this is March of 2020. Almost everything overshot. The markets were in forced liquidation mode, panic selling. And the important thing, if you have companies that broke down below support level, did they snap right back? In this case, yes. So that, if nothing else, that's a bear trap, aka whipsaw, false breakdown, whatever you want to call it, and the stock rallied from there. And so fast forward to more recently, you had a tag of that level again, successful bounce, another tag, and even better, I like to see this, a little intra-period or one-day break. Maybe we close back on it or close enough to it. So you get that, what we call bear trap or a false breakdown, and then boom, a move up there. So that we put in positive divergence at that point, just like you had negative divergence on the RSI right there. And we've been moving up. Yes, I wish I could have, would have been watching this one and pointed it out back here. I just wanted to point this out. If we can, or if you happen to be in it, then that's one thing. This is a pretty good level here, another line I've had on the chart for a while, about 1629. So it's coming up to resistance. But again, if this one is in an uptrend, all of these old targets are still potential targets, 1828. And again, so this is just something to keep an eye on. And again, this one is not a pure play, but they do have, as I recall, some cannabis or cannabinoid-based drugs in their pipeline, and so I include it. That's why it's in the list, but it may not have the same correlation to the sector as the other ones do. Let me move on then. HEX.to, again, Toronto Exchange, and what you're looking at here is coming off, it's coming up to these old previous lows, roughly. And it's very oversold. Look at the oversold reading down here on the RSI. Usually when you get that oversold, there's a good chance you're going to get a rally. You don't buy a stock based on the fact it's oversold, but what will happen, or what is likely to happen, if the rest of the sector starts to move, as I said, birds of a feather. So this one should most likely rally, and let's see, we'll get to the American shares in just a second. ACB, one of my favorites from a long time ago. One of the first, this is actually the first cannabis stock, and the first, it has the distinction of being the first cannabis stock and the first penny stock that is to ever be put on the site. Back when I used to do the official versus unofficial trade ideas, I really liked this one. We started buying it at 55 cents, I think it was, and went up ultimately to $160. I was bullish on it fundamentally and technically, and it's still one of the bigger cannabis producers. What do you have here? Well, you have a nice divergent low at support. Not great support. We've traded through there a few times, but there we snapped right back above it. There we did break it, but then we regained it here, held it there. And so it's roughly 632, and again, positive divergence. That's the common theme here. A lot of these stocks are setting up. Some have broken out. I'll get to one in a second that's already broken out today, but others may still run. And where would I target? Somewhere up here. Let's say maximum target right now. I'm going to move this line here. It's an old line. It's 1770. I'm going to move it up to match these two reaction highs right here. 1, 2. Okay, I had to shut my office door. I have the family dog barking. Don't know what's going on there, but wanted to just again loop back to this. There it is. Bullish falling wedge pattern, positive divergence, breakout would take you up to that. I'd revised it to 1927. Let's just say that is at this point in time what I call the maximum target. There would almost certainly be some reactions, but before then if we get there. But let's see what happens. Let's see if it holds its support. You could take a shot here. Again, let me try to say this, that a lot of these are setting up bullishly. I think the sector's poised to pop. These stocks tend to march to their own drumbeat. They don't move with the stock market so much. Some of them have very little, if any, correlation at all. However, you know my thoughts there. That could certainly maybe put some pressure if the stock market really goes down hard, and whether it does or doesn't, the thing is trade these stocks, especially these because they're not indexed with the rest of the market. Trade them on their own fundamentals, and let's see what that return potential would be if we could get a rally up to 1927 or so. It'd be about a 210% gain if so. So that's ACB. And next up, GRWG. This one recently put in Grow Generation. I don't know why it's saying home improvement stores. I believe this is still a pot stock. There's your uptrend line, which was taken out. You had a minor uptrend line there. And this one put in a big divergent high, but it's been walking lower. I just want to point out, if it continues lower, 2193 is pretty decent support, and then below that 1349. So although I can't make a screaming case to go long, I can tell you if you zoom in and look, there's some potential divergence here, and that's another common theme. I'm seeing a lot of these stocks starting to put in divergent lows, and so it may or may not get down there. If it does, great. Step in around 22. If the sector starts to move, you may not get there. Where does it go? Let me give you, these are old lines here. I'm going to give you one a definite resistance level, which would be a magnet. That's what I call a high probability target if this one starts to rally here. 3330. It's a nice level. A lot of reactions on that level, including these two reactions from below right there. CRON.TO. So this is Kronos Group on the Canadian shares on the Toronto Stock Exchange. Nice big bullish falling wedge pattern right there. You can see the downtrend line, the divergence line right there, i.e. positive divergence, and that's it. So you need to pop that. Some of these I need to update a little more. It's an old line. Now it's going to show that it's been modified today. Yeah, I'm going to leave it about where it was, roughly 970, and then I'm going to give you one more. These are resistance levels that are likely to come into play, about 844, and of course it could be potential targets, and then 885. And then finally, let me give you one more here. It's been a while since I've updated this chart. No, two more levels. That was that line I just put there, 1135, and this one 1037. Which one do I favor? Well, look, this hasn't even broken out yet. If it broke out soon and I see the others breaking out, at minimum that 844, and it might not look like much, but that's almost 10% above where we're at right now. So even a quick trade. TLRY, Tilray. Tilray, nice. There's your divergence line. Same story. If I can grab it. Yep. Positive divergence on the indicators. There's a downtrend line to watch, plus support, and that's the thing. So some of these you can step in if you're bullish on this sector, or you just want to diversify, spread your bets right now. That was a pretty good support level, 1058, more of a support zone, about 1058 up to 1210. And you can buy the stock here at support. You can buy it down to, but not below 1058, and or add to it if it breaks above the downtrend line and or 1210, because that would be a breakout above resistance. Where does it go? I'd say, let me give you one more target. That one's at 1243. That's an old line, but I do see some resistance here at 1892. and then 2143, and I'm going to take this line away now. That's an old line. That one I'll move down there. We'll just say that's a target zone now from about 19 to 20, 2150, something like that. IIPR, this one is, I believe it's categorized right as or listed as a REIT, and I think they rent out, it's a REIT that rents properties of some of these cannabis-related companies, and I see a different thing. If nothing else, this is a short. We had a nice, very clean uptrend line, came off the March lows, and then recently a lot of reactions there. There was a breakdown, and it's currently backtesting, and it did so after putting in a divergent high, i.e. negative divergence. So let me clear that out. This is our divergence back here that's been building for quite a while, and that one would likely fall with the market. So this one you can say is a short setup or short trade idea. Actually, it's actionable right now. I'd want to take a look at the REIT sector, but where does it go? I think this one can fall all the way back here to 163.26, and if so, that would be a 34% drop. What would make that happen? Well, if it's a REIT, we're looking, it's inevitable we're going to see rate hikes from the Fed. They've already talked about it. The market had a little pop yesterday because they're kicking the can down the road saying, nah, we won't do it till next year. You know, they keep pushing it back. And so the market said, okay, they're going to leave the needle in the heroin patient just a little bit longer, but sooner or later they're going to have to take back these zero rate policies. And the point is, REITs are rate sensitive. They tend to go up when rates are falling or rates are very low, and they tend to drop when rates go higher. So also a support level. So let's say you wanted to short the back test. The thing about back testing or shorting back tests of trend lines is you can continue to back test. There's no guarantee you're going to reverse. If you do reverse, the next, and you did take a shot, let's say a partial short entry here, a half position, you could also add to it on a break, a solid break of 225.30. That's pretty good support. And again, there'll be a little bump along the way right here. I'll give you that level. That would be right at, I do see decent support around 201.17, but ultimately I think we could drop down here to 163.26. And that would be a drop of about 33%. So this one would get cut in about a third if that happened. Weed.to, that's Canopy Growth, Toronto shares, nice divergence. Again, this is a common theme. A lot of these stocks setting up positive divergence and falling to support. Here's a line, 1781. I've had this line, created that line back in 2017. It's a level that has acted, it was resistance back here, so I must have been watching that for a breakout, a buy signal back then, or a target from, you know, when we were long back here. We had fell back to it back in 2020. Look at that. In the meltdown, we hit that level almost perfectly. I'm sorry, that's the next level down. My bad. This was the level I was just talking about, 1781, which was back here. Yeah, back in 2016, we had a major reaction high on it. Then we broke out, we back tested it right there in 2017, and then we back tested a perfect test and a rally off it back in 2019. The little meltdown in the COVID lows into the March lows in 2020, snapped right back above, but then successfully tested, and there we are again. So that's it. You can make a case to step in and buy support that's worked for many times and over the past several years. And you could probably draw a downtrend line. I don't want to force one, but that's a potential downtrend line. Where does it go? Price targets would be, definitely see some resistance there now, about $21, and ultimately maybe work our way up here to this level about 26. So those give you those two targets, 21 and 26. One more target I want to give you in between just in case we don't get that far. 2260 or so. EVIO, that one actually broke out today. This is one that I mentioned, broke out, had a big breakout. We were up at one point in time. Today we were up about 70% something, and hit what this is pretty big resistance. This is a penny stock, super high risk, you know, fraction of a penny. This is 0.001 right now, so 1/10 of 1%. That's where we're at. So here's what happened, and here's what I'll be looking for. Pretty good resistance right here. We popped the downtrend line, so we had a breakout. It was high volume, impulsive, hit the resistance level, and what would be the first target. So now we need to break above that. And if we do, there'll certainly be some stops along the way. Again, if you're going to trade these little very low price stocks, don't put too much into them. It doesn't take much, because if this thing runs, you're looking at usually triple digit returns, not double digits. So there's your targets, 0.0021, 0.0032. Let's just look at those for now. And if this thing really wants to run, you could run all the way back up here at about 0.0160. That would be a long-term potential target, but you got to be careful. These guys usually, when it's priced that low, this is just a matter of time probably before a company like this shuts the door and declares bankruptcy. THC Biomed, downtrend line. It popped it today intraday, but didn't stick. So that's what you want to see. Again, penny stock here. This thing's selling at about 8 cents, 8.3 cents a share, and it's just above support. So put this one in that speculative category. But when it runs, it runs. The last time it broke a comparable trend line right there, it rallied about mere 231%. So could do it again, and that'd be a target right there, about 11 point. That's 0.1128. ENRT, Entertopia Corp. Trend line, you can wash, rinse, repeat. Just buy pullbacks to the trend line with a stop somewhat below. Not one of my favorites, but pointing it out. CVSI, this one looks ready to pop. Put in a nice bullish candle, big bullish engulfing candle so far today. You can see it right there. Positive divergence, but it hit the trend line. So you can make a case, and you put a bullish engulfing candlestick. If we follow through with another green candle tomorrow, especially in the next day or two, that's additional confirmation that helps identify a bullish engulfing candle as a possible bottoming stick, and certainly a breakout would give you a buy signal if you can break out above the trend line with the conviction, especially on a daily closing basis. First target there is 0.3565, and I'll give you a second target here at about 0.4352. ACAN, American, as in with two N's, and we'll break out today. This one took off. It's up 9%. Took out the minor trend line. It has a more significant trend line right here. If it takes that out, I think it's going up to that 105.20 level. If it does that, it's regained that $1 price level, and that's always a big thing. So if it can break that, it could keep going. Again, we're in penny stockville, so be careful with that. A lot of these are penny stock trade ideas that we're down to now. PHOT, Grow Life. Again, low price penny stock, super aggressive, but the risk return potential is very high. When these things pop, momentum traders get into them, and fundamentals really don't matter much at that point. The stock goes up because more people are buying than selling it. It's that simple. Targets, needs to take the trend line out or putting in a divergent low. Take a shot at it, but when you're doing that, it's sort of a pot shot. No pun intended. Take out the trend line. I'm going to lower that trend line. It needs to be a little tighter right there. I think that's the trend line. Yeah, comes in off those. Yeah, there we go. That's what I like it right about there. And so if we could pop that trend line, 0.0057, maybe a stop halfway up here about 0.753, and then 0.0977. That's my maximum target on this one. If that is hit from where we're at today, that would be about 142%. And here's OGI. The shares I think this one, I don't know if this has Canadian shares or not, drug manufacturers, specialty and generic, but I like this one. You can see a nice level here. I've had this line on my charts for quite a while. I have support from about 223 up to about 231. So we'll call it 220 to 230. Nice support zone. Again, you can see lots of reactions there. And so here's one you can buy. It's just coming off support. And if it breaks a trend line, that would be your next objective entry. These are old levels I have, but I think if it pops the trend line, probably come up here at least to that 289 level. Next target, let me brighten this one back up. That's an old level I've had, 336. So let's just put that. Let me just pull it down a bit. I think that's a better level, about 330. So there's your target. We're at 252 now. Swing target at this point in time is 330. And if these guys all start to break out and get some traction, I'll continue to update the sector and possibly add additional targets. UNRV, Unrivaled Brands. I'm not familiar with this one really. I've got it charted. It's a nice symmetrical triangle pattern. And so a break above the triangle pattern would give you a buy signal. Or a break down below it would not be so good for the stock. MCOA, Marijuana Company of America. There's a nice trend line. Really starts to come in at this point. We had an overshoot back here. So you can see the stock has been pressing up against that trend line. So a pop above it would take you up to, I'm going to give you a couple targets here just in case you like this one. Very much a penny stock. 0.0049 is that first target. This one here already had a line there. It's a 0.0077, somewhere around there. Here, I'll just put it back there. Okay, sorry I had to pause the video there for a phone call. Should be up to this one now. AAMJ, American Cannabis Company, downtrend line. We're pushing right against it. Look at this thing, boom, 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 ready to pop. A lot of could potentially run, could have another thrust down. You know, that's the thing. I always say resistance is resistance until unless taken out. But if it pops, I'm going to give you one more level right here. Definite level. That is not the line I tried to go for right here. Get rid of that little sucker. Oh, these can be hard to get rid of. Let me pause the video. Okay, all right, here we go. That's it. Big level right there. Look at all these reactions right there. Boom, 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 boom. All right, that level is at 1658. That's 0.1658. It's a fraction of a penny, but it would be a 30% gain if so. And then maybe up here to that old level I've had at about 2466. And that is AMMJ. Next up, HMMJ.to, Horizons Medical Marijuana Life Sciences ETF. So for you Canadians, we want an ETF, one and done, simple stuff, diversification, all that good stuff, positive divergence. So that's helping confirm when you see a sector ETF with divergence. Oh, and by the way, I just noticed we're also at a decent support level. We had a nice reaction low back here. We had a gap right there, and now we're back to that. So you could step in and buy it on around the 780-ish level, 83. It's still not too far from there. And then maybe partial position, and then add if you get a breakout above the downtrend line. CBWTF, Oxley Cannabis Group, another one coming off support. This is a level I've had it for a long time, 0.1712. Just hit it a few days ago. I am going to take this line up now, that old resistance line, and move it to right there and tell you that would be a target about 0.2322. If it gets there, that's about another 15, almost 16%. MJNA, medical marijuana. I don't see much here, but I can tell you there's divergence building. So it's a, again, common theme here. These guys appear ready to pop. CNBX, Cannabix Pharmaceuticals Inc. Nice little wedge type pattern. There's your downtrend line. Pop above that. It is a penny stock, 0.169. Targets. These are old lines I've had on the chart. I'm going to add one right about here. Let's do that to be safe. It's a little conservative, but that's 0.1890. And then I'll give you one more right here. All right. CBDS, Cannabis Sativa. Oh, look at that downtrend line. Boom. Divergence. Nice looking chart here. Not sure if I covered this one. I might have with the Toronto shares, but either way, that one looks ready to pop. So not much more. Should pop that trend line. I'm sure you want targets if you like it. It's resistance more so. Yeah, call it a first target. It wouldn't be a nice pop, about 10% to get there, and that was at 0.4213. I see resistance right here at about 0.46, about 46 cents. And then let's just call this the current final potential target there, up at about 55.74. CTST gone, AARO gone, either merged or out of business. ACCA, this one's dropped down, so nothing there to see. Let's move on. Eastern Pharmaceuticals. That should be it, guys. .q means they've been delisted. And that's it. Or not delisted in bankruptcy. I think I've gone through the list. Let me make sure here. CAAN. There's a downtrend line. Well, no, I think we're just getting deeper down. We're almost done with the list. Here it is. See, same story. There's a downtrend line. That one is NXTTF. EDXC. Index Corp. Looks like a breakout here, but no, I'm not crazy about it. But yeah, let me move on. I'm just not crazy about this one, but there's some levels. I think it'll continue up if the sector does. These lines I just moved for you. I know they're not marked. That's about 65 cents, or no, I'm sorry, 6.5 cents, 7.5 cents, and then about almost 10 cents there. ERBB, American Green, not much to see here. There was a downtrend line, but it's not doing much since then. EMHTF, that's Emerald Health Therapeutics, nice downtrend line, needs to take out. BTZI, not crazy about it. Not crazy about that one, nor that one. And then Zine, I think we've already covered this. Yeah, we are back to where we started. That's it. That's my whole list. It's not completely inclusive. I do have a couple other cannabis lists with a few other names, but I think that gives you some ideas, some things to work off of if you're looking for cannabis stocks. And again, if I start to see some of these break out or start to rally off those support levels that I covered, I will follow up with the sector more frequently. And if they don't pop, they're just setups, and I may revisit them, a few weeks from now or a few months from now. For now, we'll wrap it up here. This has been Randy Finney with Right Side of the Chart. I hope you enjoyed it.